Yes, Prabhu.
Canto 3, Chapter 12, entitled Creation of the Four Kumaras and Others. Creation of the Kumaras and Others. Sri Maitreya said, O learned Vidura, so far I have explained to you the glories of the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his feature of Kala. Now you can hear from me about the creation of Brahma, the reservoir of all Vedic knowledge. Brahma first created the nescient engagements like self deception, the sense of death, anger after frustration, the sense of false ownership, and the illusory bodily conception or forgetfulness of one's real identity. Seeing such a misleading creation as a sinful task, Brahma did not feel much pleasure in his activity, and therefore he purified himself by meditation on the personality of Godhead. Then he began another term of creation.
So this is the first obstacle, the obstacle of dissatisfaction. Please continue, Prabhu.
In the beginning, Brahma created four great sages named Sanaka, Sananda, Sanatana, and Sanat Kumar. All of them were unwilling to adopt materialistic activities because they were highly elevated due to their semens flowing upwards. Brahma spoke to his sons after generating them. My dear sons, he said, now generate progeny. But due to their being attached to Vasudev, the supreme personality of Godhead, they aimed at liberation and therefore they expressed their unwillingness. On the refusal of the sons to obey the order of their father, there was much anger generated in the mind of Brahma, which he tried to control and not express.
This is the second obstacle. This is disobedience.
Hmm. Although he tried to curb his anger, it came out from between his eyebrows, and a child mixed blue and red was immediately generated. After his birth, he began to cry, O destiny maker, teacher of the universe, kindly designate my name and place. The all powerful Brahma, who was born from the lotus flower, pacified the boy with gentle words, accepting his request, and said, Do not cry, I shall certainly do as you desire. Thereafter, Brahma said, O chief of the demigods, you shall be called by the name Rudra by all people because you have so anxiously cried.
Anyone else would like to read, please? Next 10 verses. Yanupur.
My dear boy, I have already selected the following places for your residence: the heart, the senses, the air of life, the sky, the air, the fire, the water, the earth, the sun, the moon, and austerity. Lord Brahma said, My dear boy Rudra, you have 11 other names: Manu, Manu, Mahinsa, Mahan, Shiva, Ritidhwaja, Ugrareta, Bhava, Kala, Vamadev, and Dhritavrata. O Rudra, you also have 11 wives called the Rudraranis, and they are as follows: Dhi, Dhriti, Rasala, Uma, Niyut, Sarpi, Ila, Ambika, Iravati, Swadha, and Diksha. My dear boy, you may now accept all the names and places designated for you and your different wives. And since you are now one of the masters of the living entities, you may increase the population on a large scale. The most powerful Rudra, whose bodily color was blue mixed with red, created many offspring exactly resembling him in features, strength, and furious nature. The sons and grandsons generated by Rudra were unlimited in number, and when they assembled together, they attempted to devour the entire universe. When Brahma, the father of the living entities, saw this, he became afraid of the situation.
This is
Brahma,
the third obstacle, disturbance. Please continue.
Brahma told Rudra, O best among the demigods, there is no need for you to generate living entities of this nature. They have begun to devastate everything on all sides with fiery flames from their eyes, and they have even attacked me. My dear son, you had better situate yourself in penance, which is auspicious for all living entities, and which will bring all benediction upon you. By penance only shall you be able to create the universe as it was before. By penance only can e- by penance only can one even approach the personality of Godhead, who is within the heart of every living entity and at the same time beyond the reach of all senses. Sri Maitreya said, thus, Rudra, having been ordered by Brahma, circumambulated his father, the master of the Vedas. Addressing him with words of assent, he entered the forest to perform austere penances. Hare Krishna.
Diya Mataji. I think someone else raised their hand.
Yeah, it was Diya.
I'll continue. Brahma, who was empowered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, thought of generating living entities and begot 10 sons for the extension of the generation: Marichi, Atri, Angira, Pulatsya, Pulaha, Kratu, Bhrigu, Vasishtha, Daksha, and the 10th son, Narada, were thus born. Narada was born from the liberation of Brahma, which is the part of the body. Vasishtha was born from his breathing, Daksha from a thumb, Bhrigu from his touch, and Kratu from his hand. Pulatsya was generated from the ears, Angira from the mouth, Atri from the eyes, Marichi from the mind, and Pulaha from the navel of Brahma. Religion was manifested from the breast of Brahma, wherein is seated the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayan. An irreligion appeared from his back, where horrible death takes place for the living entity. Lust and desire became manifested from the heart of Brahma, anger from between his eyebrows, greed from between his lips, the power of speaking from his mouth, the ocean from his penis, and low and abominable activities from his anus, the source of all sins. Sage Kardama, husband of the great Devhuti, was manifested from the shadow of Brahma. Thus all became manifested from either the body or the mind of Brahma. O Vidura, we have heard that Brahma had a daughter named Vak, who was born from his body and who attracted his mind towards sex, although she was not sexually inclined towards him. Thus, finding their father so deluded, in an act of immortality, the sages, headed by Marichi, all sons of Brahma, spoke as follows with great respect. O Father, this performance in which you are endeavoring to complicate yourself was never attempted by any other Brahma, nor by anyone else, nor by you in previous kalpas, nor will anyone dare to attempt it in the future. You are the supreme being in the universe. So how is it that you want to have sex with your daughter and cannot control your desire? Even though you are the most powerful being, this act does not suit you. Your character is followed for spiritual improvement by people in general. Let us offer our respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, who, by his own effulgence, while situated in himself, has manifested us. May he also protect religion for all goodness.
Would anyone else like to
Um,
read? Just three more
where did
and finish. Yeah. The father.
I think my audio got disconnected.
No problem. We can still hear you.
Yeah, no. Did I get cut off in between? So I'll
No,
continue
no,
from
no.
there.
You're good. You're good now. Yeah. The father.
The father of all Prajapatis, Brahma, thus seeing all his Prajapati sons speaking in that way, became very much ashamed and at once gave up the body he had accepted. Later, that body appeared in all directions as the dangerous fog in darkness. Once upon a time, when Brahma was thinking of how to create the world, as in the past millennium, the four Vedas, which contain all varieties of knowledge, he became manifested from his 4 months. The 4 kinds of paraphernalia for conducting the fire sacrifice became manifest: the performer, the chanter, the offerer, the fire, and the action performed in terms of the supplementary Vedas. Also, the 4 principles of religiosity: truth, austerity, mercy, and cleanliness, and the duties in the 4 social orders all became manifest.
Thank you so much, dear readers, for taking the time to read. So, as we saw in these 35 verses, there are 4 obstacles that Brahma faces. There are dissatisfaction, disobedience, disturbance, and finally, distraction. And so, today in our discussion, we will try to see the parallels of what Brahma faced in his journey and what we will face in our journey also. So, let me start with some prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Darita Shri Vishakhanvitam Sha हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मूकां करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरम् हरे कृष्णा sorry. Do you see my slides?
No, you stop sharing, Prabhuji.
Oh, sorry.
You could see your notes also, so put it in the presenter.
Do you
Yeah,
see?
now we can see only your slide.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So thank you, dear devotees, for joining. And I hope some of you got a chance to read these 35 verses of this particular chapter, which is a very important chapter, third canto, 12th chapter. And this is important because it is kind of the start of creation, where in this one chapter, we see in this one chapter, we see, uh, you can say, the creation of Narada, you can say, of all the sages, you know, and all the obstacles that Brahma faces. Everything is there in this one chapter. So, very important chapter, and many speakers have spoken about this chapter. So, whatever I'll be speaking today will be just a repetition, like a parrot of what I've heard. So, please bear with me. So we'll make it discussion oriented. So I'm just going to ask some questions, and we can all go through this journey along with Brahma as he faces the obstacles and draw parallels in our own lives. So the first question I want to ask is um, a simple question. What is one thing that is most important to a practicing devotee to keep going in his path of bhakti?
Devotee association.
Okay, sadhu sangha. One second. Anyone else?
Some level of realization.
Some level of realization. Okay. Sorry, I'm not used. Level of realization.
Knowledge.
Did you say knowledge, Prabhu?
Yeah.
Knowledge. Okay. Anything else?
Which Lekhaka says Urchaha, enthusiasm irrespective of progress or current state.
Enthusiasm. We'll come to this point. Anything else?
Honesty, Ishwarya Mataji says.
Okay, honesty. That's something that we'll cover today as well.
Something that I wrote previously was love for Krishna and faith on Krishna.
Love and faith on Krishna. Okay.
Manan Prabhu said faith similar to enthusiasm.
Okay. So we have about 6 points here. And the first point that was mentioned was Sadhu Sangha. So we'll spend some time talking about Sadhu Sangha and then we'll go to Brahma's life. So with Sadhu Sangha, the first question I have is, okay. Okay, Sadhu Sangha. Okay, I have to clear this. So with Sadhu Sangha, I have a few questions. The first one is, name some devotees who fell down due to lack of Sadhu Sangha.
Bharat Maharaj.
Bharat.
Yeah, so Bharat Maharaj, you can say that if he had Sadhu Sangha or devotee association at that time, he probably would not have fallen down. Any other examples?
Maricha from Ramayana.
Maricha from Ramayana, yeah. Okay, if he had Sadhu Sangha, he probably wouldn't have heard Ravana's,
Mhm.
yeah, he wouldn't have followed Ravana's instructions, I guess. Anyone else? From the Bhagavatam, a very famous example.
Manan Prabhu says Sobhiri Muni.
Saubhari Muni, yes, Saubhari Muni was alone in the sea. And yeah, definitely, very good example, Prabhu. Thank you. There's one more important example from the sixth canto. I'm looking.
Ajamil.
Yes. So it is said that Ajamil, he lacked Sadhu Sangha. So that is one of the reasons why, if he had Sadhu Sangha, he would probably have survived. So Ajamil, Bharat Maharaj, and even Brahma, for example, we'll see today, like the obstacles that he faces. If he actually was the creator, but he had no Sadhu Sangha. So our acharyas explained that if he had Sadhu Sangha, he probably would not have fallen down, temporarily at least. Now I'm going to ask a slightly different question. Name some devotees who were in full devotion even without any Sadhu Sangha. This is a slightly difficult one. Sadhu Sangha is so important. There are devotees who were in full devotion even without any Sadhu Sangha.
Prahlad Maharaj.
Yes, Prahlad Maharaj. There are a few more examples. Prahlad Maharaj was fully in devotion without any Sadhu Sangha.
Lekhaka says Vibhishan.
Vibhishan, yes, wonderful example as well. Full devotion without any sadhu sangha, surrounded by demons, rakshasas.
Can
Anyone
we say
else?
Vidura, although Bhishma was there, but I don't know.
Vidura, yes, you can say Vidura also, kind of, but
Does
without any
Kardama
sadhu
Muni,
sangha. Yeah,
Kardama Muni counts?
Kardama Muni, probably, but I'm talking like without any sadhu sangha, completely surrounded by, you can say,
Prabhuji,
not
Shabri.
Shabri. Interesting. Um, she was flourishing, but she was not surrounded by demons. She was alone. So I'm talking about like people who were surrounded by demons or non-devotees or people who are not favorable at all?
Bali
Vritrasura.
Maharaj.
Who? Prahlad Maharaj already covered.
Bali Maharaj.
Bali Maharaj, he was also actually a demon in many ways. He was completely going along with the flow. So the
Vritrasura.
Like an Joseph, Vritrasura.
Vritrasura, yes, Vritrasura you can count. Yeah. So some examples that I could find are Prahlad Maharaj, as many of you said. Rukmini, nobody mentioned, but she was one in full devotion without any sadhu sangha. And even Mother Sita, she was one who was completely absorbed in thoughts of Lord Ram, even when she had no sadhu sangha uh, in Lanka. Okay, now the third question is, name some devotees who, in spite of sadhu sangha, some of the best sadhu sangha, didn't get any benefit and still fell down. I'm asking these
Duryodhana.
questions for a reason because I want to bring out one common point that exists in all of these examples. So try to catch that point, which may be as equal or even higher than sadhu sangha. So name some devotees who, in spite of sadhu sangha, didn't take any benefit.
So Nupur said Duryodhan.
Duryodhana is a classic example. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Nupur. There's one more from Chaitanya Charitamrita, a very, very powerful example, actually.
Is
Ramchandra
Duryodhana
Puri.
even a devotee?
Kalia Krishna Das.
Yes. Kal Krishna Das.
Kal
So,
Krishna.
so Kal Krishna Das and Duryodhan are probably the best examples because Kal Krishna Das, he had the association of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, right? And he also like fell down in spite of having the best possible sadhu sangha that you can get. So the discussion today is what is as important as sadhu sangha, if not more important, and that is what we'll discuss today. That is what we'll come to the conclusion, and we will answer this question throughout this discussion. Okay, again. Yes, sorry, go ahead, Nupur.
Rajiv, I like what Nitya Madhuri asked. Was Duryodhana a devotee?
Duryodhana is not a devotee. Yeah, name some people who, in spite of sadhu sangha, didn't get any benefit. Yeah, I think I shouldn't say devotee. That is a mistake. So let's move on. So the service of Brahma. So many times we fear to associate with matter, right? But actually, if you think about it, the main service of Brahma was that he had a lot of dealings with matter all the time. So, what are some things that Brahma had to do? Does anybody remember? Like, just imagine for a second that you are Brahma and the Lord has just given you sanction that you have to go and create this universe. So, what are the things that you would have to do? And all of them are dealings with matter, actually. What does Brahma do? There are some, huh? So, he had to create various planets in this material universe. Anything else?
Sorry, someone said something. Can you please repeat? I don't know who that was.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Kameshwar Guruji, Dandavat Pranam, please.
Hello, Pranam. Probably actually, first thing he has to do is he has to create elements which are required for.
Yes. He has to create ignorance. But even before that, yeah, we will come to one particular planet. But in terms of the service of Brahma as a whole, anything else that you can think of? So, like, let's say he's created the planet, and then within the planet, what does he have to do? He has to create, huh?
Species.
Yes, he has to create various species. And then what else is required in that planet? He has to create various phenomenon, right? The law of gravity, law of equilibrium, there's so many things that he has to create within each planet, right? But what can he not create? He cannot create souls.
Yeah.
Just like how a farmer, he may plow the field, he may get everything ready, the water and everything, but he cannot create the seed. Okay. So that is one point. And the second thing is initially he has to create various ignorance. This is what Kameshwar Prabhu was getting to. He has to create various ignorance within the living entities, ajnana. So that's why when we start any class, we say Om Ajnana Timirandasya. So I was born in the darkest of ignorance because that is something that Brahma has created. So in every living entity that comes into this world, he has to create this ignorance. So what is the topmost of ignorance that he creates? What is the biggest ignorance?
False ego.
False ego.
Bodily conception.
Yes, thank you, Prabhu. The bodily conception is the biggest ignorance that Brahma creates within the living entities. So, what can Brahma not create? We covered this. Brahma cannot create the souls, just like how a farmer cannot create seeds. Aham bija prata pita. So, only Krishna is the seed giving father. Okay. What are the main challenges that Brahma faces? So the first challenge is that he can easily get distracted because he's so caught up in creating, right? And this is exactly what we also go through in life. We also easily get distracted by so many things in this world. And sometimes we get so caught up in matter that we kind of deviate from our spiritual life. So, this is what we'll be covering in detail today. So now, before we move on, I want to discuss one point here. We always talk about spiritualizing matter, but there is also this materializing spirit as well. So every activity in this world has two sides. There is the material side and there is the spiritual side. And it depends on our consciousness of if we want to make it fully material or fully spiritual. Okay. So we could make it fully material or we could make it fully spiritual. But there are both sides. There are two sides of every activity. So if we make it fully material, what does that mean? If an activity, apparently externally, it could look like a spiritual activity, but it could actually become a very material activity. Even if it is a spiritual activity, we could actually materialize spirit. So how does this happen and when does this happen? I just want to open it up for discussion because this is a core point. Even a spiritual activity, let's say I'm doing arti on the altar, how can that become material?
We do it with a selfish motive.
Yes, thank you, Prabhu. So if we become self-absorbed, if we become completely self-absorbed, then even an apparently spiritually looking activity can become completely material. So the purpose of doing any spiritual activity is to come out of that self-absorption and to be absorbed in Krishna. So champion devotees know how to spiritualize matter, but the key thing is they do it without exploiting matter or being exploited by matter. So that is the next part. So now, when dealing with matter, we should not allow us to get exploited by matter and we should not allow us to get distracted from spirit. So exploitation by matter and distraction from spirit are both not ideal. So some examples are, I want to give a couple of examples. One is Vidura and one is Kolavecha Sridhar. The key is that we should not completely ignore the material side of any activity. In fact, if you think about it, any seva that we do, we are actually connecting with matter, right? And can you think of any example? For example, making garlands, we are touching flowers or we are touching matter, right? Any other service that you can think of, anything that we do, we are actually interacting with matter. It is inevitable, actually. So it is up to us to make it either material or spiritual. So, but it is said that the champion devotees, very amazing devotees, right? They don't ignore the material side of a particular activity. So I'm going to give you two examples. One is the example of Vidura, and the other is the example of Kolavecha Sridhar from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So Kolavecha Sridhar, he was a banana leaf seller actually. And that was his kind of material duty. That was his dharma. He was a Vaishya. So he was always selling banana leaves. So that was, you can say, his material duty. He never ignored it. He never neglected it. He never thought that, oh, I have to be aloof from all this. I don't have to do this. He actually took it up very, very seriously, but he did not exploit it. He did not exploit it in the sense that it is mentioned in Chaitanya Bhagavat that he never raised the price of the banana leaf more than necessary. He would always give the right price, you know. And so he never exploited matter, and he did not get exploited by matter also. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would come in every day as Nimai and bargain with him and ask him for half the price. And he would say, no, 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 this is the right price. I'm not trying to cheat you. This is the right price. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and him would argue for hours, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would give him half the price and take the item and run away, right? So the point here again is that he never neglected the material side of the activity. And whatever he got from that particular activity, he gave 50% of it to who did he offer the fruits to? Was he offering it to Krishna?
Ganga.
Ganga.
Yeah, he was offering it to Ganga. So this is another interesting point. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes and in the discussions, he actually tells, you're offering to Ganges, but why don't you offer to me for free? You know, so like this, he was pulling his leg. But it is so interesting that he performed the material side of his duty perfectly and fully. And when the time came, he was able to move it completely spiritual. So the champion devotees are those who do not neglect the material side of any activity. Let's take the example of Vidura again. Okay. So Vidura, he was this amazing advisor, right? And he could have said, oh, this Dhritarashtra is useless. He's not listening to me. Duryodhana is useless. I'm just going to practice my spiritual life. I'm just going to be happy in this palace, and I'm not going to worry about anything. I'm just going to be like a water on a lotus leaf. So was he like that? No. But he kept on telling Dhritarashtra that what you're doing is wrong. You have to correct yourself. He never neglected that material side of his dharma at all. And when the time came, when Duryodhana actually kicked him out, he then took it 100% spiritual and moved on. So it is important that we understand that there are two sides to every activity and we cannot ignore one or the other. So I'll repeat again, we should not allow us to get exploited by matter, and we should not allow us to get distracted from spirit. We have to balance these two things very nicely. So also, we don't have to perform some amazing things. Like recently from our group itself, I don't want to mention names, but there is this one amazing devotee within our Krishna House group, within our Life of Devotion group, who there was this one American girl who was thrown out by her family, and this particular devotee took that girl to his house and fed her, kept her in his basement, gave her Krishna Prasad, took care of her, gave her money, got an apartment for her, and then sent her. You know, so this is something that he completely did it selflessly, right? Completely did it selflessly and happily without thinking of what he's going to gain from it. So these are small things, acts of kindness where the devotees perform, which actually can become spiritual activities, which really attract Krishna's mercy. And we have also Kameshwar Prabhu, who's actually going to Tirupati now to make laddus. He's on his way and he's probably reached Tirupati right now. So now nobody is going to notice what Kameshwar Prabhu is doing, but in his heart, he's completely doing it for the Lord. He's completely doing it for the Lord and the devotees. So a simple act, but someone else could do the same activity with so much pride in their heart. So it depends on the consciousness. You can spiritualize matter or materialize spirit. So that is the point that I wanted to make. Okay, the next point is Lord Brahma's connection with the material world is way more than any of our connection with the material world. Many times we fear actually that we should not get too much into the material world, we'll get caught, But actually, if you think about it, Lord Brahma's connection with the material world is way more than ours. And then, so did Brahma experience any failures or challenges? Did Brahma experience bewilderment? Did he get bewildered? Did he have any fall downs? The answer to all of these three things is yes. This is Lord Brahma. He experienced failures, repeated failures. He got bewildered and he had fall downs. Then what to speak of us, right? So let us examine how. So the first thing, as Kamasha Prabhu was mentioning, is so this is from the second canto, way before, at the beginning of creation, actually. So Brahma, actually, Narad Muni asks Brahma that now that you have been sanctioned to create this entire universe and all the species and the phenomena and so on, how do you feel? So this is a verse that Brahma tells Narada that it is a completely spiritual activity as I'm serving the Lord. Nothing can go wrong as I'm holding on to the Lord in my heart. So basically, he says, whatever I speak, whatever my mind thinks, whatever my senses do, there can be nothing wrong because with great zeal, I'm holding on to the Lord. But very soon he realizes that because of his interaction or his connection with matter, he also gets bewildered. He also says things which were not true. He also, you know, his mind becomes deterred. So, and his senses become degraded. We'll come to all of these things. So, that is what happens in our lives also. Initially, we think that, oh, we are connected on this path. Now, we cannot do anything wrong because we are devotees. We cannot say anything wrong. We will not say anything wrong. Our mind will never get deterred, or my senses will never get degraded because I'm a devotee now. But we see that even Brahma, even though he said this in the second canto, he fails in all these three things. So, the first obstacle that Brahma faced, does anybody remember from the reading? What is the first obstacle?
Dissatisfaction.
Yes, dissatisfaction. So Brahma created five types of ignorance. This comes in the second verse itself. I'll just quickly go over all five of them. The first one, and in fact, all of us have these five things. And it's so interesting that Brahma, when he created these five things, he never thought that this would come on him. But you'll see very soon that all five of them actually come on him. He gets angry. He starts thinking that he's the owner, and he forgets his own real identity in the Brahma Vimohan Leela. So everything, all of these five things, even though Brahma is creating these things, all of these five things attack him also. So the first one is self-deception. Self-deception is something that we all have. We forget our own strength. Even in the material perspective, we forget our own strength and we start developing false fears. All of us have this. And we have a sense of death. We always get angry after we are frustrated. And then there is a sense of false ownership. And then there is this illusory bodily conception or forgetfulness of one's identity. So this led to the first obstacle, that dissatisfaction. So Brahma became dissatisfied. And little did he know that some of these could affect him also. So one thing that I'll focus on is this anger after frustration, which happens immediately. So the third point here, anger after frustration, is what we'll see immediately now. So anger after frustration. So after that dissatisfaction, he created the four Kumaras, Sanaka, Sananda, Sanatana, and Sanat Kumar. After he created the four Kumaras, then he asked the four Kumaras to populate the universe. And when the four Kumaras disobeyed this order of progeny, what he became frustrated, and that frustration led to anger, right? So the second obstacle is disobedience. So this is something that we also experience all the time, that the people we are working with or anyone that we are connected to as devotees, we find that sometimes they are disobedient and it frustrates us, it angers us, and so on. The third one is so from that anger, so now the Brahma is angry. From the between his eyebrows, it is said that Shiva appeared, right? Arose Rudra, who resides in 11 places. Now we'll explore very quickly these 11 places, and it is said that the anger, Rudra, anger resides in these 11 places. So we'll take the first one, the heart. The heart is like the seed of emotions, right? All our emotions reside in the heart. Whenever we get angry or upset, the heart starts beating fast. So the anger resides in the heart. What about senses? When we get angry, you'll see that the eyes widen. You feel like kicking somebody. You feel like hitting somebody. So the senses, anger resides in the senses also. What about the life air? The life air also, if you see when you get angry, you start breathing fast, right? So there's anger in the life air as well. What about sky? Anybody? How do we see anger in the sky?
Light. No, I don't know.
Yeah,
Lightning.
lightning, thunder. Yeah. What about air? Hurricanes. What about fire? Fire, there's no need to explain. Of course, fire itself is like anger personified, right? What about water? Tsunami, right? What about the earth?
Yes, correct, Sam.
Earthquake
So it is said, I also initially
or
did earthquakes,
landslide.
but the Acharya, sorry,
Landslide.
landslides. So it is said that all the weapons that we create, right, are created by earth itself. So that shows that the anger resides in the earth. And the sun, in the summer, you'll feel that the sun's heat. And so there is anger in the sun. What about the moon? This is a tough one. How do we see anger in
Cold, coldness, too much cold.
Yes, too much coldness also can cause, yeah, anger can cause coldness. And what about austerity? Austerity is something it's easy for us as devotees to understand that too much austerity causes anger. There are so many examples. Durvas Muni, Vishwamitra Muni. Durvas Muni, he couldn't even tolerate that Ambarish Maharaj had a few drops of water before he served him. There's so much anger there, even though he was an extremely austere saint. And Vishwamitra Muni also, when Ramba came, he burnt her alive, right? So like that. So there's so much anger in austerity as well. So, so then you please assist in progeny is what Brahma told Shiva. Shiva, he was not disobedient. He said he was very obedient. But the creatures that Shiva created, the sons and the grandsons, they were like ghostly creatures and they started destroying the universe. So that led to the third obstacle, which is disturbance, which is also something that we face. So dissatisfaction, disobedience, disturbance. And the fourth one is the toughest, which is distraction. And that's what we'll spend some time on now. So distraction is when, so Brahma creates his own daughter. Her name is Vak. And this is from the verse, O Vidura. So this is Maitreya Muni actually hesitating to even talk about this initially. And then the Acharyas explained that why not? He should definitely talk about it. And then he explains, O Vidura, we have heard that Brahma had a daughter named Vak, who was born from his body and who attracted his mind towards sex, although she was not sexually inclined towards him. So this, I want to bring this point up because I want to hear from all of you that when we see devotees, especially senior devotees, make mistakes, how do we reconcile? How do we understand that? And how do we move on? Because over a period of time, if you're in this movement, you will eventually come across some situation where you'll see devotees, senior devotees, make some mistakes, even sometimes have fall downs. So, how do we take it as devotees? So, that's what I'm going to ask all of you now. If you can please take a moment and tell me what you feel. I want some answers. Anybody? So, how do we understand the mistakes of a devotee?
So, like it said that when a devotee takes up, I mean, a jiva takes up spiritual life, it's waging war against Maya. And in a war, there is casualty, there is injury, right?
Yeah.
So, in that sense, yeah, it's a difficult path actually, if we look at it.
Now
So,
think about someone like even your like mentors or gurus or that it's happened in our movement that actually gurus have also fallen down. So it's a big mistake, right? So how do we take it? How should we take it? But I understand, Jagannath Gopal Prabhu, your point, which is very valid, that they're fighting with against Maya, and of course, some casualties can happen.
mm,
Anyone else? There's no right or wrong answer, but I'm looking for some
Um,
discussion. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, so my thought process is that we should, I mean, if we see like people who are seniors and they have practiced it way more intensely, then it's more of a caution. Like we can take it as a caution, but we should not have any judgment on why that happened, or like we should not form any judgments about them, but just take it as a caution and take it as an opportunity to like surrender more and check our own practices a little bit more
Okay.
deeply.
Wonderful, wonderful points, Lekaji. So have no judgment and take it as a caution for our own self. Okay. Anything else? Anyone else? In my own life, I had to see some of my mentors also having difficulties and even leave Krishna consciousness completely. So um, it was very, very difficult at that time. So I just want to hear how we would actually see this and take this.
see
Yes.
it as a temporary detour for them and not like a permanent blot on their character.
Yeah. Temporary detour.
Haribol, Prabhu. Yeah.
Yes,
Can I-
Sindhu Kanya Mataji, please.
Am I audible?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Okay, Prabhu. So yeah. Um, so the thing I wanted to say about this is, yeah, I totally agree. We should not judge and like think bad about them because they're fighting against Maya. But uh, what I think is like there is other way also to think about this, that we have to think about this also critically, because critically about that bad quality and not the person as bad, but the bad influence of Maya or very subtle effect of Maya, which especially in case of senior devotees, instead of gross lust, it transforms into the subtle lust in the form of pride, arrogance, fame, desire for fame, and all that. And that eventually affects sadhana, the relationship with devotees. And then slowly it leads to this kind of tragic incidences.
Yeah,
So
wonderful.
we can introspect on that and then try to make our sadhana very deeper and love for Radha and Krishna deeper. Yeah, ultimately they are the one who can, yeah, prevent us from violence.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, dear devotees. I think you covered all the points. But Srila Prabhupada, in the purports of this particular chapter, especially in relation to Vak, he comes up with three amazing points, which were a real big eye opener for me. And all of you have covered those points, but I want to mention what those points are. So, the first point is don't lose discrimination. So it's not that we should think that, oh, it's okay, that person did it, it's okay. No, a mistake is a mistake. So we should not lose that sense of discrimination. If somebody has made a mistake, we should understand that, yes, this is a mistake. But then immediately what tends to happen is if we start thinking that it's a mistake, then we go down that rabbit hole and start judging that person. So the immediate next point that Srila Prabhupada makes is that don't lose respect. This point is very important because if we start losing respect towards that devotee, then we will fall down. That devotee could actually move on, but we will fall down and fall down really badly. So the example is in relation to Brahma itself. So when this particular incident happened, when Brahma was running after his daughter Vak, somebody laughed. Somebody laughed loudly. There were 6 people who laughed loudly, and those people had to go through a lot of difficulty. Can anybody guess who those 6 people were? Sons of Marichi are the ones who actually laughed at Brahma. Now, who did these sons become?
The 6 kids who got killed before Krishna?
Yes, yes. So in the next life, they were actually the sons of Kalanemi, and then Kalanemi became Kamsa, and they actually became the sons of Mother Devaki, and they were actually killed by Kamsa, who was their father in the previous life. So, why all this happened? Because they lost respect towards Brahma. So, even though we read such pastimes, we see devotees go through challenges, difficulties, and fall downs, we should not lose respect towards them. If we do that, or if we hurt them, then we will have to reap the consequences, as we see in this particular example. So, the first one is don't lose discrimination, second is don't lose respect, and the third one is, as Lekha Mataji mentioned, consider this particular incident as a personal lesson for us. We should be cautious that Maya is very powerful and this could happen to anyone, including ourselves. So, these are 3 ways that we can reconcile the mistakes of advanced or senior devotees. Okay, now very briefly about this point on lust, because it comes up in this particular pastime of Brahma chasing behind his daughter Vak. So when does this desire of lust go away? It is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita 5:23 that till the last moment of our death, this urge of lust and anger, kama and krodha, will continue to exist, and we have to tolerate it. And Srila Rupa Goswami in Padyavali text 11, very nicely he says that not by wearing saffron cloth does lust go away, not by restricting food does lust go away, and other sense activities, not by living in the forest. If you live in the forest, do you think lust will go away? No. Not by discussing philosophy, and not by observing a vow of silence. None of these things can actually drive away lust. So, what can drive away lust? But only by even the slightest beginning of devotional service to the lotus feet of Lord Govinda, who enjoys pastimes on the Yamuna's wide banks, is Kamadeva stopped. So, the next point is what 3 things we should remember as we push ourselves in bhakti? Any thoughts? So, as we are going in bhakti, what 3 things should we remember? And then after this, I'm going to tell you a story about Arjuna and Bhima, which is in relation to this. So there are 3. If I have to ask you, what 3 things should we always remember if we have to keep pushing ourselves in bhakti? So basically, if you see Srila Prabhupada for 44 years experienced failure after failure after failure. In this particular chapter, we are reading that Brahma experiences failure after failure after failure. So, but they still kept pushing themselves. They still kept pushing themselves. So, what are 3 things that we should remember as we push ourselves in bhakti? Any thoughts?
Krishna is the center.
Krishna is the center. Anything else?
Manan Prabhu wrote Order of the Guru.
Order of the Guru. Okay. I'm talking more, you can say, from a material point of view. I mean, yeah, I shouldn't say just material, but it's 3 things that we should remember, which will protect us actually.
Lekha Mataji wrote Our Beginnings, where we started to where we are.
Where we started to where, yeah, okay, all correct answers, all wonderful points. I'll just quickly mention some things that I got from the purports. So we need to understand our capacity and be extremely honest about it. So this is the first thing that we should remember. Many times what we do is just to please someone else, we start becoming dishonest and we start doing things beyond our capacity. So we have to understand our capacity, our limitations, and be extremely honest about it. So Srila Prabhupada mentions that if we can just do this, be extremely honest, then we'll be actually protected and we can push ourselves in bhakti. So we have to understand the three things are: first is our current maturity in bhakti. Where are we in bhakti? The second thing is we must understand our own dharma. Many times we see other devotees do something amazing. We take inspiration from them and try to imitate them. So, trying to imitate them and not following our dharma can actually hurt us on this path. And the third one is we have to keep looking for our spiritual inclinations. So, I'll come to all of these points with a nice story from the Mahabharata between Arjuna and Bhima. So, but before we go there, so take as much as you can take and protect your bhakti lata. So don't take more than you can take. Again, that can become a burden. So then the whole path of devotion itself becomes a burden. So take as much as you can, as you can, and protect your bhakti lata. Now, this is a key point. Just because someone has done it, if we take inspiration and do the same thing, it will not please anyone. Take inspiration. That doesn't mean that we should not take inspiration. We should take inspiration and apply that inspiration in a direction that suits us. Okay. So now, yeah, sorry, Jagannath Gopal Prabhu, you had a question?
Yeah, just a quick question. Like this capacity, I've heard this very often, right? And a lot of times the example is given of the squirrel and Hanuman, right? In Ramayana, the
Yes,
squirrel is bringing small grains of sand or stones or whatever, and Hanuman is bringing big rocks, right?
yes.
And there was something interesting I heard in one of the recent lectures that Maharaj gave. He said that the squirrel is bringing the stones and Hanuman is bringing the rocks, and both are giving their whole, their full self, and Ram is pleased with both of them equally. Okay,
Hmm.
what he said. This is all what we know, right?
Yes.
Then Maharaj said something interesting. He said, but Hanuman never thought that Ram will anyway be pleased with a small stone, so let me just give a small stone, right?
Hmm.
So the point that Maharaj was making is that we should give our full self. Now, the understanding our capacity is actually very difficult if like I don't know if it's that simple, or maybe you can shed light on that with this.
Yeah. So let me give an example. I mean, the example is the story that I'm going to talk about, and we'll understand what the person's capacity is and what they're trying to do by imitating someone else. Okay.
Mhm.
So you will see with this example. Many of you may have heard the story. How many of you have heard the story of Arjuna and Bhima, where Bhima tries to sing? Anybody?
Mm, no.
Okay, so that's good if nobody has heard that. So Arjuna, this was during Indraprastha time. So Arjuna was an excellent singer and an excellent dancer as well. So Bhima, and he was not only just singing Bollywood songs, he was singing for Krishna, right? He was singing nice devotional songs for Krishna. So Bhima actually took inspiration from this and he thought that I should also become a wonderful singer. So he finds a guru. So he takes inspiration. There's nothing wrong so far, right? He takes inspiration from someone else doing devotional service, and he also wants to do that. So he finds a guru and he learns some ragas. So now he learned the ragas and he went to the outskirts of Indraprastha and he started loudly singing these ragas, right? So all the citizens of Indraprastha got very, very disturbed. So you see in this picture, they're all covering their ears and they're very disturbed. They all go to Yudhishthir Maharaj and they complain. Can you ask Bhima to stop singing? But Yudhishthira Maharaj is scared to face Bhima. So he goes to Draupadi and he tells Draupadi, Draupadi, can you somehow just give some light feedback to, Bhima? So even Draupadi is scared. How can I give feedback to Bhima? So what she does is, in a very polite way, another important lesson for us, we can give feedback in a very polite way. So Draupadi tells Bhima that, maybe you should go to the forest and start singing there because we're more peaceful there. And here there are so many people, it's very distracting for you. So just go to the forest, sit peacefully, and then sing to your heart's content. And actually, Bhima got very encouraged by this. So Bhima felt very encouraged. Oh wow, okay, that's a very good idea. I should go into the forest and I should start singing. So he starts going into the forest and then he starts singing. So one day, what happens is there is one person who comes and he peeps through the bushes and then he sees Bhima singing and then immediately he starts running away. So Bhima notices that this person is seeing me. So he starts chasing behind that person. He catches hold of him and then he asks him, first of all, why did you come here? Why were you peeping? Why were you running away from me? And why are you looking so scared now? And that person says, Bhima, please forgive me. I'm a washerman and I've lost one of my donkeys and I've been searching for my donkey everywhere. And I heard the sound of a donkey coming through the bushes and I wanted to peep and see if it was my donkey, right? So this is a very funny story. And then he says that, and then please forgive me, and then he runs away. Then Bhima realizes, oh my God, that means I sing like a donkey, you know? And then he says, okay, from tomorrow, I'm not going to be singing at all. So, and he stopped singing completely. The story does not end there. So, after a few days, Yudhishthir Maharaj tells Bhima that tomorrow I want you to go to Dwarka and bring Krishna as soon as possible. So Bhima says, okay, it's tomorrow. So tomorrow morning I'll have breakfast and then I'll go. So the next day morning, Bhima has a heavy breakfast and then he says, let me take a quick power nap. And then after the power nap, I'll go and then there'll be sufficient time to bring Krishna from Dwarka for lunch. So that power nap actually becomes a very long nap and he sleeps for like 6 to 8 hours. And then Yudhishthira Maharaj knocks on the door and then Bhima realizes that, oh my God, I've been sleeping for 6 hours. And then Yudhishthira Maharaj is extremely angry. I told you to go in the morning and it's afternoon now and you still haven't gone. What are you doing? Just go immediately and right now. And then so Bhima closes the door. And then at that time, he goes into a very deep prayerful mood. And then he prays to Krishna. He says, Krishna, I made a big mistake. Please, my Lord, help me in this, in following the instruction of my brother. And please let me get Krishna from Dwarka very quickly. Let me get you from Dwarka very quickly. As he's praying like this with deep devotion, somebody knocks on the door again. And then when he opens the door, he finds Yudhishthira Maharaj again there. But now he has a smile on his face. And then he says that our dear Krishna is already here. Bhima, I'm sorry for scolding you, but even when I was scolding you, you didn't defend yourself. You just humbly took all my criticisms. And then Krishna from behind he comes and then he tells Bhima that Bhima, I was not at all impressed by all that singing and everything that you did, but I was actually very impressed by the prayers from your heart and to execute the instructions of your brother. So, and Bhima was amazed. So he tried to imitate Arjun. So now we'll come to the lessons. And then he completely failed. But then Krishna was extremely happy with something else that he had capacity for. So, what are the lessons of the story, dear devotees? There are so many lessons that we can draw from this story,
Do
especially
not
about,
imitate.
huh?
Do
Do not
not
imitate.
imitate.
Yes. Anything else?
Don't take nap in the morning.
Don't take nap in the morning. Anything else?
You should know your strengths.
You should know your strengths. Yes, thank
Karan
you.
Prabhu says give honest feedback. Manan Prabhu said tactful feedback.
Honest feedback. Give honest feedback. Yes, yes. Tactful feedback. Okay. Anything else?
Pray.
Yes, yes. So thank you, dear devotees. So one important thing that we should learn is that if you do something that's not your core dharma, you will not please yourself. So in this particular case, Bhima couldn't please himself, he couldn't please the citizens, he couldn't please Yudhishthira Maharaj, he couldn't even please Krishna. So sometimes when we imitate others, when we don't have the skills to do that, or we don't have the dharma to do that, then we will not be pleasing anybody actually. And he was determined actually. So Bhima was actually determined, but did this determination work? No, because he was not following his dharma. But a simple, natural prayer impressed Krishna so much. So where do we get that guidance? So now in this particular case, we could ask the question, where do we get that guidance? So here Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayantite. So this yena mam upayantite is very important. Krishna says that if you are sincere, if you are following your dharma, I will give you the intelligence by which you will come to me, but I will not give you the intelligence by which you will achieve success the way you want it. So this is important for us to understand that yes, Krishna will give us the intelligence provided we are following our dharma. Remember that point again about the material side. If you ignore the material side, or if you become oblivious to the material side, that means Krishna may not give you the intelligence by which you can come to him. Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayantite. And also another important point is Krishna will not give you the intelligence by which you'll achieve success the way you want it, right? And also in the Bhagavatam, Atapumbir Dvijashreshta Varnashrama Vibhagasaha Swanustasya Dharmasya Samsiddhir Haritoshanam. This is also a very famous verse that do our duty and do not imitate others. O best among the twice born, it is therefore concluded that the highest perfection one can achieve by discharging the duties prescribed for one's own occupation according to caste divisions and orders of life is to please the personality of Godhead. So, with this, I want to share one pastime with His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. There was one devotee who came and said that, Maharaj, I don't have the ability or I don't have the capacity to do this particular seva. And in addition, he said, so Maharaj, please pray that in my next life, I'll be able to do this particular service. Okay. Then Maharaj gave a brilliant answer. Immediately, Maharaj said, whatever skill you require to go back home, back to Godhead, Krishna has given you now. I'll repeat, whatever skill you require to go back home, back to Godhead, Krishna has given you. It's not that you need a secondary skill or you need something else that someone else has to go back home, back to Godhead. Whatever skill you require to go back home, back to Godhead, Krishna has given you. So many times we think, I need this skill, I need this resource, this talent to serve Krishna in a particular way. But Krishna may not even want that from you, right? So there are two other lessons. Let's not shift our focus from pleasing Krishna to pleasing people in this world. Many times we do this. We shift our focus from pleasing Krishna to pleasing people in this world. And this final lesson is we should improve in our Krishna consciousness, not proving that I can do this service. So improve your Krishna consciousness, not proving that I can do this particular service. So that's not important for us. So the four things to reach Krishna is we need to self-introspect, assess ourselves. It's not that we should completely be oblivious to our peers. We have to evaluate our peers and other devotees around us. Question our motives, check our motives and check the motives. We should check our motives all the time, and sometimes we should check those motives also if they're not in accordance with the Guru Sadhu Shastra. And to the degree we are sincere, to that degree, Krishna will give us the right inspiration. His Holiness Sachinandan Swami Maharaj always gave this one example, which I want to share, about this book, Salted Bread. So this is a book, I don't know, many of you may have read this book. So this is a book where devotees, some Russian devotees were actually imprisoned in Russia, and they were going through extreme torture. It is said that it is similar to the torture that that Prahlad Maharaj experienced in Hiranyakashipu's kingdom. So after that, so of course, many devotees died in the prison and so on, but some devotees actually were released later after a long time. And after they came back, all the devotees, all the Russian devotees were worshipping them literally, you know. So one devotee said that somehow we have to take the dust from their lotus feet. So what they did was they invited these devotees to a particular home program, and they kept like a bag of dust at the doorsteps so that they would all step on that and then walk inside, and everybody could take that dust and do like abhishek on themselves. This actually happened. So when that was happening, um, these amazing devotees said that our body was about to be killed in the jail, but here our bhakti could be killed. So they were so cautious and they were so humble that they showed that this is actually very important. That this pride that can come, we must protect ourselves from that pride. So we must be very careful to not get self-absorbed. See what I've achieved, see what a great devotee I've become, and so on. You know, so I really like this particular example in this context. I wanted to share that. And then we ask these questions. And now, what is as important as sadhu sangha? So I have about 10 minutes left. So I'll just quickly talk about this Ajamil pastime. Ajamil pastime, what led to Ajamil's deviation was the initial distraction. So it is said that all of us in this world will be subjected to distraction. There will be Maya's allurements. There is no way out of this. Even Brahma was distracted. So we will all get distracted, but that distraction should not lead to deviation. That distraction should not take us away from bhakti. We have to bring it back. We have to bring the mind back. So, what is that quality that we need? So, as long as we are sadhakas, distractions will be there. So, what is that quality that we need to bring it back? That's my question, which is as important as sadhu sangha. So, distraction led to deviation. So, what do we do in this case? When distraction happens, how can we bring it back? What is that quality that we need? Anybody? Enthusiasm, Lekha Mataji is saying. Close, but not exactly what I'm looking for.
What is in store for us if we carry on?
What is in store for us if we
Like
carry
the
on?
bliss that is in, but again, yeah, that is selfish. But yeah.
Come back. Yeah, how do you come back, Prabhu? So what is that? What is needed to come back? There is one characteristic, one important quality that is needed. How do we come back? Acceptance of being distracted, honesty. Yes, Vallabh Chaitanya Prabhu got it. So it's the determination. So externally, you can have the best sadhu sangha and so on, but internally, you must have that strong determination. So what was lacking in Ajamila was determination. So when determination is high, distraction cannot affect us. So same is true for material activities also. When someone is extremely determined to get this promotion or get some achievement, he wants to achieve something, get an Olympic gold medal, whatever, when the determination is high, you'll see that distractions cannot affect them. Similarly, when determination is low, distraction overwhelms us and takes over, which is what we see in the case of Kal Krishna Das, in the case of Ajamil, in the case of Bharat Maharaj, and so on. So, determination, internal determination is extremely important. And you'll see this in all seekers, whether it is Bhakti Charaswami, where we read in the Ocean of Mercy, or it is Radhanath Swami. They were extremely determined, actually, extremely determined. There were so many distractions around them, but those distractions did not deviate them at all. So Srila Prabhupada says in one purport, one who lacks determination cannot be saved even by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna doesn't save somebody against their desire. Now, this desire and determination have a strong connection. So it is said that what is determination actually? Determination is just nothing but a very strong desire. So he starts off with a small desire, you make it stronger and stronger, and that becomes determination. So Krishna doesn't save anybody against their desire. So if somebody is not determined, then even Krishna cannot help them. Okay. Here's another important point. So when did Ajamil fall down? So now when we look back at the story, we realize that Ajamil fell down when he saw the prostitute and the man uniting, right? And that person uniting. But when did Ajamil realize that he fell down? Interestingly, Ajamil did not realize that he had fallen down until he met the Yamadutas and the Vishnudutas. So he realized it much, much, much later that he had actually fallen down. Similarly, if we commit an offense today and if we fall down, we may not realize it also. We may not realize it until months later, or maybe on our deathbed. Maybe that time we'll realize that, oh, on that particular day, I made this mistake and that is why I fell down. And now I'm realizing it. So we must be very, very careful about this particular point. So distractions will come, Maya's allurements will come. That is why in the Bhagavad Gita it is said, Yato yato nischalati manaschanchala astiram. It's famous verse where it says, from wherever the mind wanders due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self. And you can only bring it back under the control of the self if you have that determination. So I'll summarize, and this is my last slide. So we started by saying that every activity has two sides, material side and the spiritual side. Self-absorption makes that activity material. Don't exploit matter and let matter not exploit you. I gave the example of Kulavecha Sridhar. The obstacles such as dissatisfaction, disobedience, disturbance, and distraction, which is the toughest, they keep coming in this material world, whether you're an ant or you're Brahma. Don't lose discrimination, don't lose respect, and take others' fall down as a caution. This is how we reconcile others falling down. Whatever skill you require to go back home, back to Godhead, Krishna has given you, as His Holiness Radhanath Swami said. Don't look for other skills or other things that are not in accordance with your nature. We all get distracted, but distraction should not lead to deviation. Take inspiration from others, but don't imitate. You should take inspiration and use it on your path, but don't try to imitate. Internal determination is as important as external sadhu sangha. And then I wanted to cover one more point about sadhana siddha and kripa siddha. So there are some devotees who are known as kripa siddhas, and you can read more in this Srimad Bhagavatam 823 purport, but I'll give you the three examples that Srila Prabhupada mentions there of who kripa siddhas are. The Brahmana Yajnapatnis, they are Kripa Siddhas. Bali Maharaj is a Kripa Siddha because Prahlad Maharaj prayed for him, and Sukadeva Goswami is also a Kripa Siddha. But most of us are sadhana siddhas, actually, on the path of sadhana siddhas. With that, dear devotees, I'm going to stop. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Any?
Thank you, Prabhu. So quick question, Prabhu.
Yes.
So it is you spoke about determination, which was actually brilliant, and yeah, it's actually so much to think about that. Despite sadhu sangha being there, if there is no determination, then there is very less or negligible progress, right?
Yes, and the determination comes from desire, Prabhuji. Yeah, anyway, please continue.
Okay, desire. Okay,
Yes.
got it. Now, the thing is, yeah, I mean, even to get that desire,
Mm-hmm.
now, desire is, of course, it's very innate to everyone because desire is the thing that drives each and every jiva, right?
Yes, yes.
Uh, so we often say that, oh, you don't give up desire, but you dovetail your desire. You know, I have myself said this so much when I preach and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But then even the dovetailing of desire, right? I just wanted to ask you, what will, what does it take to dovetail that desire? How do we even start dovetailing that desire?
I
So,
mean, it has to come from within, Prabhuji. It has to come from within where you really feel that everything in this material world is futile. And
mm,
I really have this desire to go closer to Krishna. Maybe that can be a desire. Or I want to desire to get out of this material world, whatever it may be. And that desire transforms stronger as the desire becomes stronger and stronger and stronger. It becomes a strong determination. And then all these distractions, because you're so one pointed, you're focused. How do we dovetail? It's something that with life, maybe it could be through a guru, maybe you see certain things in your life. There's so many ways that you could develop or dovetail that desire. So it's different for different people.
got it, Prabhu. Sorry.
Anyone else? Any reflections, criticisms?
This was brilliant, Prabhu. I mean, it's such a power-packed session that you gave. Yeah, thank you for that. Uh, yeah,
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
sorry, go
Okay.
ahead, Kamataji.
Sorry, sorry, Prabhuji, please go ahead. Sorry, sorry.
No, this is not important. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, yeah, Gaurav, yeah, thank you so much. I mean, it's every point. I actually took a screenshot of the summary, and I have a group for myself where I go through things every day. I feel like it's so important because we easily can. I easily get lost or like get sucked into um sometimes easily slip into like wrong understanding of where my spirituality or where my bhakti is, but this is like always getting back to the basics, always remembering these points, always understanding when we get frustrated, distracted, going through various phases of our life, why we do it. So I think this is a great reminder with very, very strongly backed by Shastras and extremely practical that I need every day. So thank you so much for putting this together.
Thank you so much, Lekamataji. You already knew all this. I was just repeating what you knew. But you gave all the answers also perfectly. So thank you.
Roji, I have another question if you don't mind.
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah.
So in when you covered the section about Brahma getting attracted to Saraswati, Vak, I
Mm.
think that's Saraswati, right? Vak.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, Vak, his daughter.
Yeah.
So there three things you mentioned. One is I forgot like what, but the question I have is on one of those things, which is don't lose respect.
Yeah.
Now,
Don't lose discrimination, don't lose respect, and use it as caution for you.
yeah,
Mhm.
discrimination and caution is, I guess, I guess the easier of the two, not easy, but the easier of the three.
Correct. Correct.
But then the most difficult is to not lose respect. So I just wanted to understand what does it mean to not lose respect? Like if somebody is like a worshipable person, for example, and they fall down, so does not losing respect mean we keep worshiping or
No,
like
no,
if we,
no.
so
So,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So you can maintain a healthy distance, but you should still have respect for that person for all the things that they have done. All the things that they have done. Like, for example, in this purport itself, Srila Prabhupada mentions that Brahma did so many things. He's created the whole universe and all the planets and all the phenomena, everything. Just for this one small fall down, the sons of Marichi, when they laughed, right, they lost all respect for him. So that is wrong. We must always remember all the things that a person has done and not lose respect. You don't have to worship them. You can still have a healthy respect and know that they're on their journey. It's a purification for them at this point, and maybe this purification will take them closer to Krishna.
Mm.
So that is the understanding that we should have.
So basically, don't lose respect is don't lose sight of what they've already done in the service of.
Correct. And if you keep that in your vision, you will not lose respect because you'll never be able to do what they did. So that way, yeah.
Like I remember that example in here of Prabhupada, that one of his god brothers criticized him a lot, and he was involved in the politics of Gaudiya Math also, I think. And he criticized Prabhupada a lot, and then at one point he left his body, and that time ISKCON was very much flourishing. And
Yeah.
then devotees came and asked Prabhupada what will be his destination, and Prabhupada said he'll go back to Godhead, and devotees were shocked.
Yeah.
And they asked how, he criticized you so much, and then Prabhupada said no, he'll go back to Godhead because he did great service for my spiritual master.
Yeah.
So Prabhupada demonstrated that don't
Yeah.
lose respect.
Yeah. Yeah. Wonderful, wonderful example, Prabhu. Thank you.
Prabhu, can I ask a question if there is still any
Yes,
time?
yes, Lekha, please go ahead.
Prabhu, so when we make these decisions, it's always introspective. Like we always go through a thought process. In that thought process, we do label people and label feelings. So sometimes we cause offense in our own mind because it comes and in the spur of the moment as anger, and then we say, "Oh, sorry, Krishna, I didn't mean it that way," and we catch ourselves and we correct ourselves. So does Krishna get displeased by the fact that even though we corrected ourselves, is he displeased that we did have like an enmity towards someone, or we
No.
showed? Okay.
So that's a great question. There are multiple examples, and I'll give you a couple. So one is when Narad Muni cursed the sons of like Nalakuvera and Manigriva, right? The sons of Kuvera. So immediately he also felt very bad that I labeled them, I cursed them, So he goes to Badrik Ashram and then he meets Lord Narayan and then he begs forgiveness. So and even in this particular story, what happens is later on, so the sage, all the sages headed by Marichi, they all go to Vishnu, uh, and they ask him, see what's going on, can you please help here? And then when they start praying to Vishnu, that is when Brahma realizes his mistake. So at any point, if you go to Vishnu or Krishna, then it is actually a good thing. And what comes out after this pastime is that immediately after he creates Vak, he creates the four Vedas, actually, the Brahma. So it is said that you may do the worst mistake, but if you take shelter of Krishna, no matter what your background, Krishna doesn't look at the background. No matter what your background, Krishna will protect you and he will guide you to make amazing things in the future. So,
Okay.
so that's
Yeah, very, very encouraging, Prabhu. Thank you.
anyone else before we end? Thank you, dear devotees. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So next week we have a very special speaker. Saraswati Mataji's father. Is she here? No, she left, I think. So Saraswati's father will be, so Diya Mataji's father will be speaking next week. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Hare Bol.